Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is FiveXFive and I'm Simo. If you haven't already, grab your fave bevy, a seat, and let's get into it. Clone Wars is back. I mean Bad Batch. Just kidding. Bad Batch is back for season 2. As you can tell, I'm a little bit excited about it. I was a big Clone Wars fan, so of course I'm a big Bad Batch fan. It's funny because I really didn't think I would like this show when it was first announced, and I didn't think I would care about it, but it's really grown on me. Anyhow, it's back for season 2. The show looks stunning as usual. It looks like they've done some under the hood tune-ups and adjustments to the rendering engines, and the tech has improved. The show looks better than ever. It looks like they're using the same process that they were using for Tales of the Jedi. The same visual quality is there. In terms of the story, it looks like the story is picking up after some sort of small time jump. It looks like there's probably been about a year or two. Omega is a little bit older. She was obviously quite young in the first season, and she looks like she's an early tween now, so there's been some sort of small time jump. I didn't catch if there was a specified amount of time, so I might have missed that. She's older, she's more capable, she's better trained, she's been studying, so she's getting into trouble just as much as she was in the first season, but she doesn't need everyone else to bail her out anymore. So that's some character development for her. The first couple episodes are all that drop for now. The story focuses mostly on Tech and Echo, which is a nice change because they didn't get a lot of airtime and screen time in the first season. The first season was really more about the Bad Batch breaking out and finding their own after Order 66 and sort of deciding what they were going to do. The point of this first 2-episode story really seems to be redefining where the show is going to be going now that the first season has wrapped up, and it was pretty well explored, so there wasn't that much left to say after, hey, they broke out of Order 66 and that sort of trajectory. So this season, it seems to be really about redefining what that means in the new world order that the Empire is creating, how they're going to adjust to having their freedom, basically. The tone of the show has really solidified itself into a more mature format. Even though it's animated and it has a pretty bright and optimistic atmosphere, the tone is definitely more serious, it's definitely more adult. Despite having moments of levity, they're really doing a good job of having a good balance. And for whatever reason, I don't know if it's the score, because the score has really changed from the Clone Wars. I don't know if it's the score or if it's the actual writing, but the show seems to be much more in line with the live-action Andor series than any of the animated shows. So that's actually a really interesting distinction. It feels like it fits very much in with Andor, like they could actually be companions to each other. And being that it's animated and Andor is live action, that kind of surprised me a little. But it's a welcome change. Andor, if you haven't watched, Andor is a really great show too. You should check that one out, but we'll save that for another time. In this story, the team is heading to Dooku's old castle. It appears that he left behind some loot after he was dispatched by Anakin in episode 3. And the Empire is trying to loot his castle for anything of value. I'm guessing probably Sith artifacts, wealth, all of those things. I mean, you can never really be sure what you're getting when you raid the loot of a Sith Lord, right? So the point is, our heroes, the Bad Batch, have to get over to that castle and intercept the loot before the Empire gets hold of it all. And the premise they've offered is really, as freelancers, as mercenaries, they're going to be working job to job and on a piecemeal basis freelance unless they have some sort of big score. And that's the idea here. They're supposed to intercept this loot so that the Empire doesn't get it. Great, cool. But also so that they have a big payout and they don't have to rely so heavily on their individual jobs, and they have a little bit more freedom. And if anything happens to their relationship and their contacts, they still have the freedom to operate and not be at anyone's mercy. That's the basic premise. So they're going to go for this job. Of course, as the adventure ensues on the planet and we get started, we get to see how much this time jump has benefited the team. They're basically operating like a well-oiled machine at this point. They know how each other works, they are working together, and it just works. And we also get to see how the Empire is slowly encroaching on the rest of the galaxy and how its sort of rot is slowly influencing the tone and the atmosphere of the rest of the galaxy. We also saw this again in the Andor series, the live action Andor series. But we are also seeing it here in Bad Batch. The team is ultimately unsuccessful in getting Dooku's loot, unfortunately, so they won't be able to just disappear like they hoped to if they had got it. So that leads us into a position where it sort of sets the stakes for the rest of the season, where we're going to be watching them and seeing how this impacts them on I guess, an episodic basis, what they're going to have to do for cash and to stay under the radar. It's going to really set the tone for the rest of the season. There won't be any free pass for the season, I guess. And this will sort of force them into being active throughout the politics of the galaxy, so they won't be able to just disappear during this pretty important expansion phase of the Empire. In the end, the pace of the 2-episode premiere was a little bit slower than what I expected, but the quality is there, so it didn't hurt my enjoyment. I don't think it's going to bother fans either. I did notice it, though. Again, the pace kind of matches the live-action Andor series. It's kind of interesting how they're paralleling each other in a way. Or at least I feel like they're paralleling each other. Anyhow, I wasn't disappointed. I don't think fans will be either. I don't think you will be. I'm looking forward to the next episode and the rest of the series, of course, the rest of the season. And I do think it's worth your time. We'll see how the rest of the season goes and check in later. That's a wrap for now. Don't forget to click like and subscribe. I'll see you all in the next video. Stay safe and look out for each other.